He says, what's the best way to get the fastest results? I said, cut out everybody 100% out of your life. Change phone number, cell number, 100%. Take you off Facebook, LinkedIn. He didn't even know what LinkedIn was. Get on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the best tool that was ever invented specifically for QLA. Because contrary to what they say, they're looking for a nonprofit working on. They say that because that's a socially acceptable thing to say. I'm interested in nonprofit. They're interested in because they don't have any money. They've got nothing to do now and all day to do it in, and they're going to sit, fight with their wife sitting at home, or their wife is going to sit and fight with her husband sitting at home. But LinkedIn's a great tool, and it's you're going to get a link how to use the LinkedIn. You get a link. The one that costs $100 a month or something. Yeah. That's the one to get. That's the one to get, and it's just dynamite. It's just dynamite.
Was it healthcare?
Yeah, healthcare. Assisted living. And he's some kind of Iranian or Persian or some Ozan, or I don't know what kind of fucking name that is, but anyway. And the kids just take care of business. That's it. While you spreadsheeted. He did the research while he was at the seminar to decide, and he really picked one that I didn't have a conflict. That's the real answer to the question, because I have a lot of conflicts, but he picked one I didn't have a conflict, the subject of conflict. And any other than you look all like you just saw a fucking dead body, I mean, you should be embarrassed. And when you see the 17-year-old, when is the 17-year-old? Tomorrow? Yeah. This is an Asian guy talking about, is that the Asian guy? Okay, if you're gobsmacked on this one, wait till you see the 17-year-old who's just taking care of business. And if it wasn't for the fact that about the legal majority, we could have 13-year-olds here taking care of business. Now just imagine, just think about that, you sorry cunts, pieces of shit. 13 motherfucking years old. 13 fucking years old. You ought to kill yourself, metaphorically speaking, of course. You ought to fucking off yourself. What possible good have you brought to this fucking planet? And that's why these people that want to save the planet, I want to throw up. What have you done? Not a fucking thing. Now those kids give me hope. Unfortunately, there's not enough of them, because most of the kids are pieces of shit. By definition, if you come here, you're a kid that's not a piece of shit. Now, if there was 20 million of those, I'd have hope. But there's only probably 45 or 50 on the whole planet. So those 45 or 50 are going to get rich and not be able to save the world. It's underwhelming to me, not overwhelming, underwhelming to me how people make this such a hard thing. But he's got self-esteem. He's getting to speak better. He went to Toastmasters right away. The day he landed he took a train, okay? Because he knows that that's not his chink in his armor, but he needs to improve that. Well, not many 18, 19, 20-year-old kids can talk, other than when they talk, because they've learned to what? Text, Skype, and their interpersonal skills are pretty shitty. His aren't bad. They're certainly not, Of course, you heard Josh. I mean, Josh's interpersonal skills are pretty damn good now, pretty damn good. They weren't when he was 17. That's why, it's just the more and more that we do this, me and you, the more I realize that under pressure, being pushed, you can get it done in a lot shorter time frame. Any questions about the kid? And he does look 15 to me. How old do you look to you? 15? Yeah, well, he looks younger in person. But see, if I showed you just kids, because I could do that, it would be debilitating. You'd be fucking depressed by the end of the week. Because you don't look at it like I do. I look at it, gee guys, if a 13-year-old can do it, what the fuck about you? You look at it just the opposite. Instead of the glass half full, it's half empty. 13, fuck, I might as well kill myself, like Peña says. I might as well just blow my brains out. We could have 3 kids, 4 or 5 kids a day, but we have a sprinkling of them to show you that it can be done. And more importantly, the time frame, because we make more work. Remember, it's the suspects versus the prospects. A prospect can actually sell you a business. A suspect is a guy that'll answer your phone calls. He had no trouble with delayed fees, and he's got big accountants and big lawyers. None. Now, I would, because I'm cynical. If I saw a kid that looked that young, but I realize now, other professionals out there, financial transactional professionals, aren't as cynical as I am. I look at a kid that looks 10, 12, 14 years old. I have trouble getting over the hurdle that they could possibly know anything. But the knowledge out there is so spotty, they believe, and when he uses the words, when one of the superstar Hall of Famers said, you only need to know between 25 and 30 bits of nomenclature, 25 to 30 bits of knowledge, sentences, 3 or 4, 5-word sentences. That's all you need to do to make a lot of money in this program, 25 to 30. Not spreadsheeting anything. Josh, we don't use this film anymore, but Josh said in one of because he's done a bunch of them for me over the last 2-3 years, he was 4 months out of the seminar when he called a cousin or somebody related to him, and asked him to explain the difference between debt and equity. debt and equity. A lot of the guys still use the wrong word. Doesn't matter. I don't give a shit if you know the difference between debt and equity. Doesn't matter. All it has to, the most important thing of the QLA model is a motivated seller. Everything else you can make work. It's like a girl that wants to sleep with you. That's the most important thing, okay? She's made that commitment. The rest you can work out. Pun intended. No problem. The rest, we can make this happen, sweetheart. But all you got to do be is motivated. That's it. And this is exactly the same. Once that commitment is there, we can figure things out, sweetheart. Don't worry about it. And once you have the motivated seller, which is the most important thing, and then coupled with the 200 years that he has on his board, of which he has none, no experience. Now, some of the kids at his age don't even add their profile to remember, the executive summary, then the chairman's profile, then the CEO's profile, then the CFO's profile, then the lawyer's profile, then the accountant's profile, then the 2 or 3 industry experts, right? And you don't even put your profile. Now, your profile, like I told you wrongfully, you're going to be a stud because of your background, okay? But the kids got nothing. So they just leave, they don't even add their profile to the deal. One time a year, an accountant or a law firm will say, I didn't see your profile in here, young man or young lady. And then I forgot to add it. I'll send it over to you. And it says nothing. It says dropped out of University of Manchester, 2nd year, or and that's it. And some of you have, some reasonable profiles. Of course, almost everybody looks better on paper than in reality. If you don't look good in your fucking resume or profile, you might, I don't know. Although I just looked when I was walking here past my office, my first resume was pinned outside my wall. And I looked at it and I said, I interviewed, they were so positive that I was going to be hired up because came back from the war, an officer, graduated with honors, yada, yada, yada. I only interviewed with 2 companies, 2 Fortune 500 companies. One of which was called Dunlap, and one of which was called Carnation. Carnation used to make milk and shit, and now they're part of some big company. I had 7 interviews at Dunlap. I had 8 interviews at Carnation, okay? And this is before the 7 to 8 interview process. And the last interview I had with Carnation was with a vice chairman. And he said, Mr. Peña, I wanted to meet you because everybody that passed you along to the next level was afraid to turn you down because you came across so forceful. They think he's going to come back and be president of this goddamn company someday. But I'm retiring next week, so I can tell you, we're not going to make your job offer. I just wanted to meet you. So I figured, well, Dunlap is going to give me, okay. Then the head, they didn't call him human resources in those days. The head of personnel department was a army captain who had, got out of the military, and he was the head of personnel. And he invited me for a drink, and he said, I just want to, officer to officer, I want to tell you why we're not going to make you a job offer. 7 and 8 interviews because everybody, they were afraid that same thing. They were afraid to tell you no because you'd come back and be their boss someday. But you fitting in a Fortune 500 company like ours would be like sticking a round peg in a square hole because you were either going to be president someday and fire and eat everybody along the way. So the 2 companies that I interviewed with, neither one of them hired me. Neither one of them. Thankfully. I don't know what I would have been. I'm sure I would have been president of one of those 2. But it's not hard. It just isn't. And again, I showed you that guy from South Africa in January and in May 17th or whatever. I don't think 13 million is a big fucking deal, but considering he doesn't know shit, it's a big fucking deal because the system works not perfectly, because no system works perfectly. You're the loose cannon in the system, the you, between the ears, the you. Because you memorize these 25 or 30 sayings or phrases, what they are. I don't think there's even 25 or 30. I think there's only 5 or 6 or 7. And it all starts out with the one moving part, a motivated seller. That's it. And we have kids today that don't know anything about what would be normally called the LBO business, the leverage buyout. That's what you're grouped into, wrongfully, because it's not a leverage buyout that we do. But that's what it's wrongfully called during the LBO game. And it really has nothing to do with LBO. If we've had LBO guys in here and gals in here that say, it's not really an LBO. It's an LBO without the O because it only has half. And yet, any comments, questions about you look like a kid. When you're 50 years old, you're going to praise to Allah that you look so young, And even though nobody believes me, I used to look that young. I grew a mustache to begin with, trying to look older, and it just looked funny. It looked like it wasn't real. And it used to take me like 6 months to grow a mustache because my hair wouldn't fill in, okay? And then I tried to grow a beard, and it used to take me a year to grow a beard. But when my hair turned gray, I don't know if the hair gets thicker, I'm not sure what it is, but my hair fills in now, so I have this. But It all started because I look young. Our children don't believe it. They said those pictures of you, Daddy, aren't you? You hired somebody to look like that young. Anything about the kid? Yes, sir.
How much emotional sacrifice are you willing to make?
Well, he cut everybody out, 100%. He asked me what was it. In fact, he might have been sitting right there when he asked. He says, what's the best way to get the fastest results? I said, cut out everybody 100% out of your life. Change phone number, cell number, 100%. Take you off Facebook, LinkedIn. He didn't even know what LinkedIn was. Get on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the best tool that was ever invented specifically for QLA. Because contrary to what they say, they're looking for a nonprofit working on. They say that because that's a socially acceptable thing to say. I'm interested in nonprofit. They're interested in because they don't have any money. They've got nothing to do now and all day to do it in, and they're going to sit, fight with their wife sitting at home, or the wife is going to sit and fight with her husband sitting at home. But LinkedIn's a great tool, and it's you're going to get a link how to use the LinkedIn. You get a link. The one that costs $100 a month or something. Yeah. That's the one to get. And it's just dynamite. And then we'll go through you have a script, but you want them to then give you their email address, so then you can converse with them on their email, not using that message is on LinkedIn, and they will. And those magic words, free founders equity. I used to have a much longer subject matter, but one of you, 4 or 5 years ago, he experimented with the various, and it came back. Free founders equity got 80 times more anything else. So, and that's what we use, and it's out there in the market. And even though, we've got a lot of YouTube people that follow us, they're no more inclined to expand their emotional bank account than you are. In fact, they're less inclined. And then occasionally we get a kid like the kid from South Africa. Yes, sir.
When you talk about motivated seller, say you find kind of the dream company, dream deal, how much effort would you put in? So if they weren't that motivated like you talked about?
Well, because I'm going to have 100 in the funnel, and I can just move them to the back burner and, keep them on the boil. It's like the deal that came up $300,000 short from a debt service being covered by free cash flow, and a couple of the directors said, hey, kid, we'll each put up 100. Now, when your board members, remember, we don't want their money, we want their time. But when they do put up money, you've got to allow the other board members, pari passu, you have to offer to them too. Because if the 2 guys that put up money and you become fucking Google and the other 5 guys you didn't tell about, you got a problem. So you're gonna offer to everybody. Not on the board, the board members. Some guys and gals will want to participate. If they see the chairman participating, then who's allegedly maybe the smartest, then everybody might want to join. But you have to give them the opportunity, and that's part of the corporate governance. And you have to be more careful about things now than you. Like I've got guys, very successful guys, will not get in an elevator with a woman unless it's his wife. Their wife will. They will not get in a lift with a woman to go to the 15th floor of a business. Shit happens. He touched me. He grabbed me. So, none of that existed 20 years ago. And now it does exist. When I did the Brian Rose thing a year or so ago, and I took 400 or 500 pictures, there's people that have pictures of the women that I was shaking hands with grabbing my buttocks. I knew that it happened, but what am I going to do? Jump up and scream? Okay, first of all, I think it's great, okay? But there was people that I got pictures sent to me on the internet. Did you see? Of course I felt it. What am I? I'm not dead below the waist, moron. And so that I got 4 or 5 people sending me pictures of shaking my hands and the girls. I'm not suggesting that you do. Believe me, leave me alone. Don't touch me. Oh, we'll end it on that. That's a good place to end it.